What's up guys, this is Alex, and today what we're going to bring you is dyno video of the 2019 Mustang GT with a Vortech Supercharger. It's been a long time coming with the video, been busy, got 3 cars to take care of, Fairmont build, but now that the Fairmont build seems to be, kind of going along real well, I think I, wanted to get you a video and, some new content based on this car. Now, just to keep you guys up to speed as to what this vehicle is. 2019 Ford Mustang. It originally started out with a flex fuel tune from Lund Racing. It ended up making over 450 rear wheel horsepower. Aside from E85 and tuning, it's bone stock. There is nothing done to this car. All I did was the exact same deal, but it now has a V3 Vortech Supercharger with LU47 injectors in a 3.6 pulley. Just as it comes with the kit, no special anything. The LU47 injectors, a lot of people say, well, why such a small injector? Remember guys, this car has direct injection also. So the LU47s and the direct injectors are more than enough fuel on pump gas to supply the vehicle with adequate fueling. But enough talking, let's get right to a dyno pull, because it made 455 on E85 stock. Now let's see what it makes with about 10 or so PSI boost, which is a 3.6 pulley. I'm hoping for about, I don't know, 620. If I get real lucky, it'll make 650. Remember, the car has bone stock exhaust, bone stock manifolds, bone stock catalytic converters, nothing done to the exhaust system. Just boost, pump gas, and Lund tuning. Let's get after it. Let's take a look at the data log. It made like crap for power. So let's see if the knock sensors came in and took a bunch of power away. As it shows right now, it's only 505 rear wheel horsepower, and torque is 437. So something's up. Knock sensors probably pulled back a bunch of timing, but let's take a look at the log. That's why we log. Okay, this is what we found real quick. The original way the vacuum lines were plumbed was this guy was being teed into so that the bypass valve could shut. The problem is this is a check valve, and so is this. So that's always gonna basically hold vacuum only and not allow boost to get through, for lack of a better word. So what was happening is the bypass was potentially seeing a very small amount of vacuum slash boost because of the check valve situation. So what we're going to do is move the T to the other side of the check valve so it's free to see both boost and vacuum, and see if the car then responds. It only made 505 rear wheel horsepower, so I knew something is up. So instead of making pull after pull after pull, I got with Jake, got with Mikey here, and we kind of configured everything. After some back and forth, we configured the setup this way. Past the check valve, so post check valve, T into the following line, not have the check valves become part of a situation, because these will see vacuum and boost on this side freely, and not have the check valve be a part of the equation. But we'll know once I go wide open throttle, if it makes more than 505, we'll know that the bypass is actually shutting. I'll monitor knock live to make sure that nothing's getting hokey, and I'll push clutch in if it's silly. There you go. Same, 517. Yeah, 517. It didn't do shit. It's either not seeing boost or the belt's slipping like a motherfucker. It's got to be the belt. That's the only other thing. Right? Like, look at the belt. Look at how shiny the belt looks. Don't the belt look shiny as fuck? More diagnosing. Okay, so under the advice of John, I said, look, well, I'm out of ideas. We rerouted the lines. We made sure the bypass was doing what it needs to do. Maybe there's a restriction somewhere in this tube, somewhere up in there. Who the hell knows? So let's try it. Took it off real quick. I'm going to run it in third gear to about 6,500 RPM and see if load goes way past 1.3, because on the street it would do about 1.7 load, which is airflow. On the dyno, it's not even close, like not even close, way down on power, 1.3 load. So I'm going to see what's going on. This is the first time it's been on the dyno, the first time it's been shooken down, so we'll see what it does. Okay, a quick third gear rip to 6,500 RPM as I'm data logging to see how much airflow changes, if any. See how much of a change it makes. To about 6,500, just to see what it does. Yeah. So there's an obvious restriction going on somewhere in the in the tube. It's up 58 horsepower. Okay, so there's obviously a restriction in the tube somewhere. I don't know why it's being restricted. Maybe I sucked in a bird, process of elimination, but let's make a full pull and log it and see what the deal is, see what's going on. Interesting. Junior suggested it, take the intake tube off. I'm like, it's not a bad idea. So let's make a pull at fourth gear, 7,500 RPM. I'll monitor knock and see if it's happy. So let's make an actual pull on this thing. It's not anything spectacular. It kind of, to be honest, it kind of sucks. 570, 3.6 pulley on a V3. There's nothing impressive about that, because if this thing's making 10 PSI and it's rolling over on the top too, so that tells me there's still some kind of restriction somewhere. There has to be some kind of airflow restriction. 570 wheel through a V3 at 10 PSI? Nah. With a 3.6 pulley? Nah. I expected well into the 600s, so let's keep chugging away as to what the issue could be. Hey, maybe I have a clogged catalytic converter. You never know. That's the other thing that I've always suspected that could go wrong in these cars. Clogged cat. A lot of people don't understand why a car with a supercharger and pump gas and relatively low boost would clog a cat. Honestly, heat. These cats cannot be cooled fast enough with the available fuel to keep the cats happy. That's why a lot of manufacturers run the cars at 0.68 lambda, rich as hell, black soot off of the exhaust. So yeah, something's up, gotta figure it out, so I'm gonna keep chugging away. Okay, this is where we're at now. Verified that all of the boots, couplers, or everything are tight, no problem. Verified that this guy is seeing proper boost to the bypass. Way down there, I'll show you eventually. The last thing besides belt slip, which we don't think the belt's slipping because we just don't think it's slipping, is the bypass itself. Is the bypass shutting, allowing boost to get into the engine? When I removed this guy, the car made 70 more, 70 rear wheel horsepower up from the previous pull. So it was 505 or 500 and it made 570 with that guy pulled off. Blowing my mind. So I'll do a recap a little later, but let's see if the bypass is not shutting properly. Jake said there's a way of testing it, so I'm going to take it off right now and see what's going on with the bypass. Potentially maybe there's some kind of restriction, or it's not, or the O-ring is leaking, not allowing it to see a proper seal and not shutting properly, allowing boost to get into the engine. Who knows? But let's take it apart, test it, see what the deal is, because this car should be making well into the 600 rear wheel horsepower range through catalytic converters. It's barely touching 570 after removing this. So something's up. Let's try to figure it out. Okay, because I'm a glutton for punishment, don't mind the fan noise, I removed the bypass tubing. The bypass is operating properly. Last thing was back to the vacuum routing. So we're gonna bypass this whole situation here, this whole check valve situation. So what I did was I grabbed it from the back of the throttle body. There's another port, and I teed into it. Now the line is currently a little bit on the pinched side, but not too bad. And I'll have to extend it when I do my testing. But the line is now going to the bypass, and there is no check valve anywhere. It is from the back of the throttle body right to the T. So this guy should see vacuum slash boost and shut properly. That is my hope. That is my wish. And it is 6:30. I've been at it for a couple of hours because I can't imagine a V3 with a 3.6 pulley makes 500 rear wheel horsepower. That is straight garbage numbers, and I can't imagine Vortech would be happy knowing that that was the case. So I want to make sure that I'm not talking out of my ass. Now, if it is the case, I'll go ahead at the video and send it on its way. But if I'm doing something wrong, I want to make sure that I do everything in my power to make it right. So I'm gonna pull it with the intake on still. It should make over 505 if the bypass is operating properly now. It doesn't, it's not, and that's basically what it makes on LU47s and pump gas. If it makes more than 540, 550 with the intake on, I'm gonna go ahead and take the intake off, and that should make about 600 rear wheel horsepower. Let's see what happens. All right, let's party. Talking, baby. Smoke, we're good. Boom. Right, let's show you what happened. Now we are cooking 626, 488. Much better. And look at that graph. That bitch keeps climbing till about 7,400, and either spark was taken away or fuel cut, who the hell knows, but I let off right at about 7,500, so it's pretty close. 626, 488. Guess what we're gonna do now? We're gonna pull the intake off, make a pull, same tune. Let's get after it. Okay, just gonna go ahead and pull this guy off, leave it up here, and let it suck in air from there. Take everything out of the way. Should not rattle off. Let me just take this clamp out of here so it doesn't decide to get sucked into there. But I'm just gonna leave it there and let it suck in air without any of the airbox restrictions being in the way. Same tune, not changing a damn thing. Haven't even looked at the other log. We're just gonna get right after it. Put this guy here, make a quick pull, let's see. Okay, just gonna go ahead and make a pull. Haven't even looked at the other log. For all I know, it's knocking to Kingdom Come. I doubt it. And we're gonna go ahead and pull it, intake off, and see how she does. Oh, it sounds different. A little different. Come on, baby, I ain't got time to fucking spend. Let's go. Data logging, manual, let's go. Break off. Log on. Air charge temps are 100. Right after it, no fucking around. Let's get it. Wow. No smoke, we're good. Boom. Awesome numbers, check them out. Oh my God. Very exciting. 673, 513. So let's recap. 517 was the number I came in off the street. I thought everything was kosher. I thought the car felt amazing. Come to find out, it was only making 517 rear wheel horsepower. Then I took the intake off after seeing what the hell's going on, trying to route things, didn't know what the hell was happening. Ended up making 546. All right, cool beans. Then we re-plumbed the bypass to grab boost slash vacuum from a completely different source away from the check valve. It yielded in 626 rear wheel horsepower, 488 torque, and almost intake per intake, 109 rear wheel horsepower gain now that the bypass actually shuts. Then I removed the intake, 673 rear wheel horsepower, 513 rear wheel torque, an absolute monster on pump gas. Guys, understand, this is a pump gas car with LU47s and a booster pump and a 3.6 pulley on a Vortech Supercharged V3. Exactly the numbers I thought. That's why I was a little disappointed. I'm like, wait a minute, what's happening? I'm a little confused. I don't understand why this thing's not making the power it should. Well, guess what? It's making the power it should and then some. So now I'm going to slip this intake back on, knowing that I have 600 rear wheel plus horsepower on tap. And if I ever want to make a little more, take it off, and that's 50 more rear wheel horsepower. Pretty damn stout for a centrifugal on Florida pump gas in the Florida heat, doing what it's supposed to do. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.